This Halloween I'ma get even with you. I'ma ghost, I'ma dip, I'ma go find my boo.
Hey book besties, welcome to my first ever 24-hour reading vlog. This video is going to be super fun because I'm going to be reading spooky books for 24 hours since it is officially spooky season. It is October, Halloween's coming. So I just want to read a bunch of mysteries and thrillers, and I thought it would be fun to turn this into a 24-hour reading vlog. I'm actually going to be doing the timer method, which is what most booktubers do. So if you haven't heard of the timer method, I'm basically going to have a 24-hour timer going, and every time I am not reading, whether it's eating, sleeping, anything besides reading, I'm going to pause the timer, and then when I pick up the book again, I'm just going to continue the timer. I personally prefer the timer method because I feel like this is a good way for me to see how many books that I can read within like an actual 24-hour period, and I feel like this way I wouldn't be burning myself out either, and I can get some sleep. So this video is probably going to be spanned out over a couple of days since I will be doing the timer method. This is a stack of spooky books that I have next to me at the moment, but I do also have some other books on hold at the library, so we may be adding to this pile as the challenge goes on. I've never actually timed myself, so I don't know how many books I'll be able to get through this video, so that's gonna be fun to see. To start off this reading vlog, I'm going to be reading A Good Girl's Guide to Murder by Holly Jackson. This is a young adult murder mystery. I've heard this is very fast paced, so I think this will be the perfect book to kick off this spooky reading vlog. This book is following our main character Pip, who is doing her final year school project on a murder that happened 5 years ago in her small town, where the case is closed and they found the murderer, but she thinks that the real killer is actually on the loose. So it looks like Pip is going to be challenging the police and trying to uncover the secret of what really happened. I'm going to start reading now, so I'm just going to have my stopwatch going and I will give you guys an update within the first hour. Finished my first hour of reading, so we've got 23 hours left to go. Here is my timer. I'm absolutely loving A Good Girl's Guide to Murder so far. It is so interesting. I am so hooked already and so invested in the story. I love how this book is written because you get like normal chapters, but you also get these like production log things that Pip fills out. So you get to see like transcripts of interviews that she's done and just all of those like things that you would normally see, I guess, when it comes to solving true crimes. I love how it's written that way because you just feel so much more invested in the story. So far we do have 2 persons of interest based on who Pip has interviewed. So she's interviewed some of Sal's friends, Andy's friends, and she's also got the help of Sal's younger brother Ravi to solve the case to see who is the real killer. And it seems like even though Andy was a very popular girl in school, she didn't really have that many admirers in the sense that she didn't really treat many people in a good way. So it seems like there may be a few people that may have a motive for killing Andy. So that's interesting. My theory at the moment is that I think that the person that may have killed her was one of Sal's friends who was actually in love with him, because it seems like she doesn't like Andy and her story of what happened on that night doesn't seem to be lining up, and that's my theory at the moment so far. But yeah, we are off to a really good start already. I am loving this book and I cannot wait to continue reading. It's only been an hour and 14 minutes now, so I haven't actually read too much since I last updated you, but I have just come up to part 2 because the book is split up into different sections, and oh my god, part 1 ended with Pip and her friends going to a camping trip, and on the camping trip it looks like someone had been following them, and someone had left a note for Pip saying stop digging Pippa, as in like stop trying to find out what really happened. So like that's crazy. Like, was that the actual killer, or is Andy still alive? Oh my god, I have so many questions right now. But yeah, I just wanted to let you know that I'm up to part 2. It is now 10 p.m. and I have been reading for 2 hours and 43. It is now 10 p.m. and I have been reading for 2 hours and 43 minutes. I've gotten up to page 236, which is on chapter 24. I'm officially 55% through A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, and it is so freaking good. There's a lot of things that have happened. So many new suspects have been introduced, and my theory from earlier about Sal's best friend possibly being the killer, yeah, that's not my theory anymore. I don't even know what my theory is at the moment because I have no idea who is the real killer. Everyone is looking like a suspect at the moment. I'm probably going to stop reading for the night and just pick up tomorrow because I do want to get some editing done tonight before I go to bed. So that is pretty much why. To be fair, I did start this reading vlog at 4 p.m. today, so that's why I've only managed to read for 2 hours and 43 minutes, but I also do feel like 2 hours and 43 minutes is pretty decent, especially considering I have made it past halfway. But I will see you guys tomorrow to continue reading. Something really sad just happened. No. I just finished A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, and oh my goodness, this book was amazing. What a way to start off this reading vlog. I am now officially 4 hours and 39 minutes into this 24-hour reading challenge. So it's taken me about 4.5 hours to read this book. I just absolutely loved the writing style in this book. If you're into true crime, you will definitely love this book because it felt like I was watching a true crime documentary, but like in a book form. That's the vibes that you get, and I absolutely adored that. This book had me guessing the entire time. My theories on who committed the murder kept changing every single time, and by the time we find out who actually did it and what actually happened, it was just amazing. Can I just say it was so good because you kind of get like a double plot twist. Definitely a 5-star read for me. I cannot recommend this enough. The next book I think I want to read is Layla. I've heard that this is a paranormal thriller, so we've got some ghosts situation happening, so definitely perfect for spooky season and for this vlog. So I'm gonna pop the timer back on again and we will start reading Layla. I'm officially 100 pages into Layla, and we have also reached the 6-hour mark. When I went into this book, because I am going into this book completely blind, I thought Layla was actually the name of the ghost, but it's not. Layla is a human, and she has recently got out of hospital after suffering a brain injury, and her boyfriend Leeds decides to surprise her with a trip to the bed and breakfast where they first met. But there is just some weird, unexplainable things happening at the bed and breakfast, like things are being moved and Leeds actually is communicating with the ghost, and we find out the ghost is named Willow. I don't know if this ghost is like a sinister one or if it's a good ghost, but I have a feeling that the ghost is going to possess Layla. That's what I'm thinking is gonna happen so far anyway. I'm definitely not a fan of Leeds. He is getting a little bit too close to the ghost for my liking, and he keeps asking the ghost to possess Layla so they can actually spend time together and like communicate, and I'm like, no, absolutely not. And Layla doesn't even know there's a ghost in the house and that she's getting possessed, because every time she gets possessed and the ghost stops possessing her, she's just like confused because she doesn't remember what's happened. And I'm just like, to Leeds, why would you literally ask a ghost to keep possessing your girlfriend? Layla. If I had to use one word to describe this book, it would probably be unique. And the story itself is interesting, but oh my goodness, I absolutely hated the main character Leeds. He just gave me the ick throughout the whole book, and it was kind of a little weird considering he was falling in love with a ghost, but then it's kind of like tries to justify it to the book, and I feel like I can't really say anything more without spoiling this book. It is definitely a different story though. I don't necessarily know if I liked it or not. I feel like I need to sleep on it to figure out my exact rating. I'll probably give you my overall rating at the end of this vlog, because yeah, I feel like I need to sit with my thoughts to figure out what I want to rate this book. But we're also officially 8 hours into this reading vlog, so we have just 16 hours left to go. I'm probably not going to do any more reading tonight. I will probably just pick up another book tomorrow, because yeah, my brain is still processing this one. I have just started The Ex-Hex by Erin Sterling as my next read. I actually read a little bit of this off camera this morning, so we have now made it to the 9 hours and 18 minutes mark, and I'm like 30% through the book. I'm up to chapter 10, which is page 93. This book is pretty short. It's like 310 pages, so that's pretty good. This is definitely going to be one of my only lighter spooky books, because this is actually a rom-com, but it's set in Halloween and there's witches and magic. So this is following a witch named Vivian. 9 years ago, Vivian breaks up with her boyfriend Reese, and her and her best friend actually put a hex on him, because obviously that's what you do when you go through a breakup as a witch. And 9 years has gone by, and Reese actually has to go back to Vivian's small town to recharge the town's ley lines and also attend the annual fall fair. But turns out the hex that Vivian put on Reese actually worked out, even though at the time when she put on the hex, it was kind of like a joke. But yeah, 9 years later, the hex is definitely taken court. So there's just a lot of misfortunes unfolding for Reese. So Vivian's got to figure out how to undo the hex, and I'm assuming that the forced proximity is going to end up making this a second chance romance. Like I said, I'm 30% of the way through the book at the moment, and I'm really enjoying it. It is just such a cozy feel. I feel like if you are wanting a book just to read during this spooky season, but you're not into mysteries and thrillers and you're looking for something more lighthearted, this book so far is probably a really good one to read during Halloween. Like, it's giving me Sabrina the Teenage Witch meets Halloween Town vibes. So if that's your cup of tea, definitely recommend this one. But yeah, I'm going to resume my timer and continue reading, and I'll probably give you an update once I finish this one, because yeah, this is a pretty quick read. Also super cute. Each chapter has a little black cat. I love that little detail. It's so cute. guys, oh my god, this one was just such a good, funny, light-hearted read. I don't know why I thought this book was young adult, because it's not. It's actually new adult, and there is a little bit of spice in this book which completely took me off guard because I was not expecting it at all. But the storyline itself is just so fun and interesting, and it is so fast-paced. Like, I was not bored at all. I probably rate this one a 4 out of 5 stars. I definitely recommend if you are into rom-coms. Also, I am 11.5 hours into the 24-hour readathon. Next book I want to read is definitely going to be a Riley Sager book. I borrowed 2 from the library. So I've got Home Before Dark and Survive the Night. I'm leaning more towards Home Before Dark though, just because I've heard that this one is super spine-chilling and it's just scary. So I feel like this is perfect for this readathon. Also, I thought this was just in the thriller genre, but apparently it is horror as well because the spine says horror. So I don't know how this is going to go because I don't normally pick up horror books, but I am excited to try this one out. I'm going to read the back of the book because I don't actually remember what this is about. So this book is following a girl named Maggie. So her and her parents moved into like this Victorian estate, and they spent 3 weeks before fleeing the estate in the dead of night. And Maggie's father actually wrote a spooky memoir recounting his experience, but she doesn't actually believe a word of her father's books because she doesn't actually believe in ghosts. Then Maggie actually goes back to that estate and some strange things are starting to happen again, and she may be in danger. It sounds like this is going to be more of a paranormal thriller because there's ghosts involved. Let me know in the comments down below if you believe in ghosts. I definitely do, so I would love to know if you guys believe in ghosts as well. Also, it is currently 6:30 p.m. and we are going to be reading Home Before Dark, quite literally in the dark. I'm up to page 197, which is on chapter 12, officially 50% through the book. And wow, this book is so eerie. I'm getting so many like creepy vibes from it. So Maggie's father passes away and she inherits the haunted house that they escaped from 25 years ago. What I find really questionable is the fact that the father never actually sold the house or demolished the house in the first place, especially considering he wrote a whole book of all the terrible things that happened while they were staying there. Like, I don't know, if it was me, I would definitely sell the house straight away. But Maggie was actually really young when she was living in that house, and so now that she's an adult, she doesn't actually recall any experiences that she had in the haunted house, and she also doesn't believe in ghosts. So when she inherits the house, she ends up actually going to stay at the house because she is wanting to get the place renovated so she can sell it. But even though she's very skeptical about her parents' experiences living in the house, she is wanting to find out more answers because her parents refuse to give her answers of what actually happened. What's really cool is that in this book, because the dad obviously wrote a whole book about his experience living at the haunted house, you actually get like chapters from his book and then it switches back to Maggie's POV and her now living in the house. And there's already some creepy things that have been happening since Maggie's moved in. So on her first night, she sees someone standing in the woods just staring at the house. Then when she goes outside to go and see, there's no one actually there. Literally getting chills as I'm saying this. And there's this reoccurring creepy thing that happens. There's this record player and it always goes off and plays this same song. and every time he goes to his study to check on what the heck is going on, the room is like super cold and the music is on full blast. That record player incident has happened a few times to the dad with that same song, and now it's happened to Maggie. Safe to say that I probably shouldn't have started reading this at night, because I'm not even gonna lie, it is a little scary. But with that being said, I am really enjoying it because it is suspenseful and it's so fast paced as well, and I just want to know what's happening. But I'm going to take my book upstairs and read in bed because I just want to be like in my comfort space while I read this. But I'll give you guys an update tomorrow because I am hoping to finish this one off tonight because I need my answers and I'm too impatient to wait till tomorrow. Myself a berry smoothie, so I'm all prepped and ready to continue this readathon. But last night I stayed up till past 1 AM finishing Home Before Dark, and this book had me looking over my shoulder, getting spooked by the tiniest little noises that I could hear in the middle of the night. Honestly, I am kind of happy that I read this at night, but also like I was so spooked. There were some plot twists towards the end of the book that I did not see coming at all, and I love when thrillers and mysteries throw in plot twists that you just don't expect and that are not predictable. Yeah, this book was creepy as heck. Honestly, props to Maggie, the main character, for going and staying in that house all by herself, even though she had some weird experiences. But yeah, this book was definitely a very interesting read. I'm still so shook about what happened towards the end of the book. That really summed up the story because yeah, I was not expecting it at all. But this was so good. Highly recommend if you are looking for a scary book. Also, we are up to 16 hours, which means we actually have 8 hours left of this 24-hour readathon. I'm hoping to get the 8 hours done today because I go back to work tomorrow, so I don't know if I'll be able to get much reading done unless I read after work. But we'll see how we go for time today because it's already 11:30 AM. But I'm thinking of picking up Local Woman Missing by Mary Kubika next because I don't know, the synopsis of this book is calling to me. So the first girl that goes missing is named Shelby, which is honestly another reason why I wanted to read this, is because my best friend's name is Shelby. And then after that, Meredith and her 6-year-old daughter Delilah vanish just blocks away from where Shelby was last seen. So are these incidents actually connected? And then after an exclusive search that yields more questions than answers, the case actually goes cold. And then 11 years later, Delilah shockingly returns. Everyone wants to know what happened to her, but no one's prepared for what they'll find. I'm excited. This is a mystery thriller, so I'm so keen. I'm up to page 187 of Local Woman Missing, and this book is actually separated into different parts. So I'm currently halfway through part 2. Part 1 was only like 50 pages and it was in Delilah's perspective, who is one of the girls that went missing, but it's set in present day, but it's basically her escaping from her kidnappers. And then part 2 starts off with kind of going back and forth between 11 years ago when Delilah and her mum went missing to present day. What's interesting is that part 1 actually never mentioned Delilah's mum, so Delilah's mum was not with her when she was kidnapped. So basically part 2 at the moment is trying to figure out what actually happened to Delilah's mum, because a couple of months before they went missing, Delilah's mum Meredith kept getting threatening texts. Basically at the moment we're trying to figure out what has happened to the mum them. You get multiple POVs, which is really cool. So you get the POV of Delilah's younger brother, a woman named Kate who was one of Delilah's mum's friends. So far my thoughts are that the story is interesting, but because Delilah's already escaped and gone back home and now the story is more focused on Meredith, I'm actually not as invested as I thought I was going to be. I feel like it's getting a little dragged out at this point. Also, here's a timer update. I have been reading for 18 hours and 17 minutes. Anyways, I'm going to take a little bit of a reading break at the moment because I've been reading for like over 2 hours straight, and I'm going to go pick up some lunch from a Porto. So yeah, I just wanted to come on here and give you an update before I go and get lunch. Just hit the 20-hour mark. In 4 hours we would have hit the 24-hour mark, which is so exciting. Honestly though, I feel like I'm slowly losing my mind because I have never read this much in a short period of time. Like yesterday I literally started and finished 2 whole books, which is absolutely mind-blowing to me. I have never done that before, but I finished Local Woman Missing, and I don't know if it's because I've just been consecutively binging mysteries and thrillers at the moment, but I feel like this one just didn't hit for me. Like the storyline was definitely interesting, but I wasn't super invested in the story, and I feel like it was a little dragged out and I was getting quite bored. It's definitely not bad. I would still recommend this. It just wasn't anything special that I wanted to rate any higher. I'm probably gonna give this 3 out of 5 stars. Let me mull it over. I will give you like my final ratings at the end of this video. Since we have 4 hours left before we hit the 24-hour mark, we will be able to squeeze in one more book, and I have decided to go with a graphic novel because I just want something that's super light and easy to read, and something that's not super long and that won't really need much brain power because my brain power is like really going down. So I borrowed Witches of Brooklyn from the library. This is a middle grade witchy graphic novel. I don't actually know what this is about, but this one caught my eye because my friend Sarah over at Sarah's Reading Nook actually read this and it made me want to pick it up too. So I think this will be our final book. I think this is going to be a really good one to end off with because it is a graphic novel. So yeah, I'm just excited to sit down and read this because it's going to be such a fun light read and I'll be able to see all the fun illustrations. I've just finished work and I have managed to hit the 24-hour mark. Here it is. So we have officially finished the 24-hour readathon. This was such a fun video to film. I really enjoyed reading all these books with you guys, and it was just the perfect video to kick off spooky season. I thought the perfect way to wrap up this readathon was to go through and give you guys my final ratings of the books that I managed to finish for this readathon. I managed to finish 6 whole books in this video, which was absolutely shocking. I didn't think I would be able to read that much during this readathon. This was the first time I've ever actually timed myself reading, so it was kind of interesting to see that I was able to read this many books during the 24-hour period. I read Witches of Brooklyn, which was the last book that I mentioned to you guys. So this was the middle grade graphic novel. This book really surprised me with how much I actually enjoyed it. It was just such a fun read. I loved seeing all the illustrations. I love the two aunties in this book. They were so funny, and I loved the magical aspects. This was just such a fun, light read, and I decided to give this one 4 out of 5 stars. I definitely recommend this one. This was such a perfect, cozy, spooky read. Home Before Dark, you already know, was the scariest book that I have read for this readathon, but I really enjoyed this story and I gave this one 4 out of 5 stars. Local Woman Missing, I decided to give it 3 out of 5 stars because I thought it was just an okay, pretty average read. The Ex-Hex by Erin Sterling. This one was just the perfect rom-com to read during the spooky season, and I really enjoyed reading this one, especially considering majority of these books were mystery thrillers, so it was great that I was able to add in a spooky rom-com into it as well. This was just such a fun book to read. It's also pretty short, so I definitely recommend this one if you're looking for a book set around Halloween. I gave this one 4 stars as well. Layla was a strange book, to say the least. It wasn't my personal cup of tea. It is a paranormal romance, which you don't normally read too much about. It just wasn't for me personally, and that's okay, but I decided to rate this one a 2.5 out of 5 stars. I also started Good Girl Bad Blood, which is the sequel to A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. I started this around the 23-hour mark because I ended up finishing Witches of Brooklyn a lot quicker because it is a graphic novel and it was only like 200 pages. So I started Good Girl Bad Blood. I'm only a couple chapters in, and so far I am really enjoying it. So Pip is on another case, and she is investigating a missing persons case for one of her friend's brothers. I'm really enjoying this one so far. I just love the way Holly Jackson writes. But you guys will see my thoughts and ratings for this book in my October wrap up at the end of this month, so keep an eye out on that if you want to see my thoughts on this book. So yeah, that concludes this 24-hour spooky readathon. I really hope you guys enjoyed watching this video because I had so much fun filming. I just literally sat down here and read 6 books and shared my thoughts with you guys, and that is exactly what I love to do. So I really hope you guys enjoyed watching. If you guys enjoyed watching, please be sure to give this video a huge thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel down below. I post new videos every single week. I'm actually planning to do a dedicated reading vlog for Verity by Colleen Hoover. If I end up doing that, that will hopefully be up before Halloween. And also be sure to check out my social medias. I will have my Instagram, Bookstagram, Goodreads, Amazon wishlist, all that fun stuff down below too. And I will see you all next week with a new video. Bye!